Hello and welcome back to Unit 2 of Week 2. In this unit we will explore and analyze data through visualizations and enhance the documents we created in the last unit. I hope you could download and install the Discovery trial version without any issues and could do the first explorations inside the client by yourself. What are the takeaways of this unit? To get more familiar with the Discovery client, we start visualizing our data acquired in the last unit. We create visualizations based on different chart types, look at crosstabs and geomaps, perform visualization and element level actions, format visualizations, and look at available contextual actions. I would like to handle this session in the same way as the previous one by having a look into the demo first and come back to the slides after we looked into the product. Ideally, we will have covered all the content already. So let's go to the document that we created in Unit 1. I already enhanced it a bit to make it more fitting to our session now. So I created an additional custom hierarchy in here, and I already included a second page so that this is prepared for our session. So today we want to create our first visualization. So you see here in the insert chart area, we have different chart types. You find the basic charts, which are the ones that you will be using most, and you have specific charts, like for example time series charts, you have numeric points, etc. But we stay here with the basic charts and we just create a column chart. So the empty chart will be visible here on your canvas, and now we just drag in our measures. We want to see revenue and costs, and they appear here. Now this looks a bit too small, so I can enhance my visualization by maximizing it, and now it looks much better because I can see more. And I want to show cost and revenue by region, so I need to drag in the region for my other axis as well. You could as well use the plus here if you want to add your dimensions and the measures, but I just dragged it in. Now you see we have several options here on the right. These are our explore options. So I could include a reference line, I could set the colors, I could have conditional formatting, could have ranking, sorting, I have my number format, I can include calculations, and I could as well change the chart type from here. Most of these options we will go into detail when working as an end user, because except the chart type change, all these features will be available as well for the end user. But now let's concentrate on this chart. What we did is we did not create all chart types that would be possible. So we start with a column chart, and if we want to have a column line chart, then we can evolve this chart based out of this chart type. Otherwise, you need all kind of combinations like 2 columns, 1 line, 2 lines, 1 column. So I decide now that I want to see the costs as a line. So I can change the chart type for this series to show as a line. And I want to be the cost in the other color, so I just change here the sequence of these two. So let's go back now and have a look into our canvas there. Oops. And make it a bit bigger. So let's have a look at the visualization itself. Now that we created it, what other options do we have? You see here when I click on it, when you have a simple single click, then this is a bit highlighted and you get this menu options here. And this would be the same as just right-clicking into it. By this, we get a context menu of the whole visualization. So all actions we are now performing are for the whole visualization. You can maximize it, you can filter, sort, rank, etc. You can send it to the back if you have other objects on the canvas. But I have as well the option, if I double-click on this, then you see the frame changes And now I'm working on the elements inside my visualization. So if I now right-click on one of my columns, I have the option to drill down. I have the option to filter. I can even change here my chart series type to align if I want. When I click inside the background, then you see I can switch to a horizontal view. I can show the legend. So depending on where you click inside now your visualization, you get these different element actions. Let's have a look now how I can change the properties of this. We have one way to change the properties by just clicking on it, or I can go to my Design tab. If I'm on my Design tab now, you remember from yesterday, the properties were empty because we didn't have an object in here, but now I see I have the properties of this visualization. And you have either the option to look into these properties from this side. So I could, for example, show a border and say, I would like to have a border here that is in my orange color. Or what I can do, I can directly click inside this by a double click here and then selecting with a single click the element. And here I can just say, well, I don't need these axis titles because it's already in this title. So I can just click here and you see, once I click on an element in my canvas, the properties directly adapt to it. So I can here as well delete this. And what would be nice that I can maybe change the background color to no color. Oops, sorry, I'm in here. So to change this background color to no color, because when I have a background picture, it would be nice that I as well see the background picture here. Let's go and create a second visualization. What I want to create now is just to have a simple geomap. So for my geomap, let me make this big directly so that you see the elements that we have here. I want to have the region as my geodimension, and that's very important. You can only work with geomaps if you really have a geo hierarchy available. And let's now have the profit as my color, and I would love to have an animation there. So let's put in the month and animate this by month. So you see now how the profit in the regions changes per month. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you, just two simple visualizations that we included here, just to learn how we work with the different actions on our visualizations. Let me save this document now, so that we can come back to this later in our next unit. And let's close it, and let's have a look at how does the data look when I'm working with a document where I connect it to live data. So you remember the document that we had yesterday. In this case, I just need to log on because I did not log onto the platform before in this unit. But once I'm logged on once, then for every other action, it would already be available. So I enhanced the document that we had in our last unit by including already some visualization so that it doesn't take so long for our demo now. And I just want to show you a bit the difference that we see here. So you see here, this is our live BW query. I included two charts and a cross tab. So if we click on the cross tab here, you see we have the similar actions that we had as well before in our acquired data. But you see, depending on if I click on the chart or if I click on the cross tab, I have different actions. So see here, for example, I have less actions. If I now double click here in a cross tab to see what I can do on the elements, let's have a look at the region hierarchy. So you see here, working with the BW live data, we have access to the hierarchy. So you can select a hierarchy, and this hierarchy is the hierarchy that is available on this dimension in the backend system. If there would be more hierarchies available than one, we would see here a list of hierarchies. And you can as well expand the levels, you can collapse the levels, you can just open up to level 2. So you can here work with the hierarchy that you have in the backend system. So just want to show you that based on where you are, so based on the visualization you are in, based on the data source you are in, you have different actions. Let's as well have a quick look at the preview, because when I'm here in the preview, you see that, oh, I'm sorry, this preview did not work. Let's maybe go back to the other one. Don't know why. Let's go to the one that we just saved before, because that's easier to show here. When we go there to the data preview, I just want to show you the difference. You see here an end user, because in the preview you see what the end user can do. You see that the end user there has the same options, and that the end user here has a bit less options because we cannot find the chart type there. So as well, working as an end user or working as a designer, of course, has different actions available. So let's go back now to our presentation to see if we still need to cover something. We showed how creating a visualization. We showed how to evolve from basic charts to more complex charts. You see here I just included some more chart types that you can try out. I will include the examples for you there. So for example, a waterfall chart where you can customize the increasing and decreasing colors, or for example have the totals here of your waterfall chart. Then you learned about the different levels. So depending on where you click, if you single click, then you are working really on everything you can do on the whole visualization itself. If you double click, then you are in a single element modus. This was when working with the properties of a chart. Once you click somewhere in your chart, you directly see the properties on the left and can work with it. So they are connected and directly react. For the geomaps, we just had one geomap, but you see here you have different base maps available. You can either have Esri or you have as well offline maps. We just had the bubble layer, but you can have chloropleth, you can have bubble, PI, location points and clusters. You could as well work with corpus GIS server integration. For example, you could have the plot feature servers so that you can integrate polygons. And you have, or you need the data enrichment, because you need a data geo hierarchy, as you can only work with hierarchy elements to create geomaps. And we saw that we can include an animation as well. You saw for the cross step, for example, that we have different context menu. You could have drill down if you are working with offline data. If you are working with BW Live hierarchies, you can here expand your hierarchies. You can select your hierarchies. You can even have the scaling factors and measure of unit in the header available, just depending on which kind of data you have available. And at the end, very important for your contextual actions, these contextual actions via right-click differ based on the data source that you use, if you have live or imported data, or even if you have BW data or Excel data, then the selected object. So are you selecting inside your visualization an element? Are you selecting the visualization? The selected chart type, are you working a cross tab in a normal chart? Or are you working as an analyst user, so the one who is working in the client, or are you working as a consumer, as we saw in our last part of the demo? So you see here, an analyst user can do much more. So now we are ready to close this session. Take your time to play around with the options that you learned so far. In the next unit, we will build interactive stories using filters and input controls. Stay curious.